Hey folks, welcome back to our RTR of the Ossiarch Bonereapers. So today, guys, we are looking at the terrain piece as well as the endless spells, and we're going to go into the Warscroll battalions as well. So let's start off here with the Bone-Tithe Nexus. So guys, this terrain piece is absolutely huge on the table, and it's actually a really cool terrain piece. I need to get mine. I've seen them played by my buddies, but I need to get one. So the it's a single model. It is an obstacle. So in your hero phase, you can choose. Oh, hold on. We've skipped something. All right. So the base rules are over here. Sorry, guys. It's weird because it's got like narrative text, random rule that you don't see. All right. So the Bone-Tithe Nexus, you can include one of these. When the terrain is set up for the battle, any Bone-Tithe Nexus must be set up by the player whose army they have are part of it, before any other terrain features are set up more than 3 inches from any objectives and more than 6 inches from the edge of the battlefield. Set up the rest of the terrain as described in the core rulebook. If both players are can set up terrain features before any other terrain features are set up, the players must roll off and the winner chooses. So basically, guys, this is the very first thing you place on the table. It's massive, and that is why. All right. Just make sure, guys, that when you go to place terrain, you really pay attention to your objectives. You should place your objectives first and then this down. All right, so you kind of know where things are going to go. All right, so it has a couple different rules. So in your hero phase, you can choose for this terrain feature to unleash one of the following punishments. So the punishment of agony: pick one enemy unit wholly within 18 inches of this terrain feature and visible to it, and roll a dice. On a 4+, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made by that unit until your next hero phase. Pretty good. Usually you're going to set this terrain piece up kind of further up so you can get range to do this. So the punishment of death is 36-inch range. Roll a d6 on a 2+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So not too bad. Punishment of ignorance: pick one enemy wizard within 36 inches of this terrain feature and visible to it. Roll a dice, and on a 2+, alright, subtract 1 from casting and dispelling unbinding rolls for that unit until your next hero phase. That's really, really good, folks. Alright, and then the punishment of lethargy: pick one enemy unit wholly within 18 inches of this terrain feature and visible to it, and roll a dice. On a 4+, that unit cannot run until your next hero phase, and on a d6 is used to make charge rolls for that unit instead of 2d6 until your next hero phase. That's really good too. Overall, guys, this is a fantastic terrain piece and one of my favorites that's come out from Games Workshop. Alright. Now then, guys, the endless spells for this faction are a little bit different. All of them have a rule called Soul Linked. Essentially, these spells are bound to the wizard that casts them, right? And then when they cast the Soul Link spells, they are always moved by the player whose army includes the caster the spell is Soul Linked to. The player that won the roll-off to determine who moves an endless spell first must move all their Soul Link spells first, followed by their opponent. Right? A wizard subtracts 1 from casting rolls for a wizard that is Soul Linked to an endless spell. A caster cannot be Soul Linked to more than one endless spell. So these spells are a little bit different than your standard endless spells. We're seeing this a lot more with these newer books, like Cities of Sigmar and even the new Seraphon book. So let's start with the Nightmare Predator. It is a predatory endless spell that can move up to 2d6 inches and flies. Right? Has a casting value of 7. Right? If successfully cast, you set it up within 6 inches of the caster and visible to them. Okay, so this is this guy. So, when this model, his abilities are Perpetual Hunter. When this model was set up, and the player who set it up can pick one enemy hero and his prey, and then immediately make a move with this model. If this model's prey is destroyed, this model is dispelled. Okay, not... So when this model is set up, the player who set it up can pick one enemy hero as its prey, and then immediately make a move with this model. If So, not too bad, guys. Essentially, when you set it up, you just make a move towards the hero that you marked. So, Death Incarnate, after this model moves, roll a dice for each enemy unit within 3 inches of it. On a 2+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. if that unit was the model's prey on a 2+, it suffers D6 mortal wounds instead of D3 mortal wounds. Ossiarch Bonereapers units are not affected by this spell. So I see this used a lot, especially with Nagash. You have to realize the -1 to cast is actually a big deal, except for Nagash. So keep that in mind when you're using these spells. So the Soulstealer Carrion is another one I see used pretty often. Has a casting value of 6, all right, and it is set up anywhere on the battlefield that is visible to the caster. All right, it has a move of up to 16 inches and can fly. So it has the ability Soul Thief. So at the end of each phase, roll a dice if any Chaos, Destruction, or Order models were slain within 6 inches of this model during that phase. On a 1 to 2, heal 1 wound allocated to the caster's soul linked to this model. On a 3 to 4, inflict 1 mortal wound on each Chaos, Destruction, or Order unit within 6 inches of this model. On a 5 or 6, do both of these things. Okay. So you roll a dice, any Chaos, Order, or Destruction units. Okay, so it's not bad. Basically, you kind of can get some bonuses if things die around this spell. I kind of like this, especially because it can be set up anywhere on the battlefield, so you can set it up right by a combat and then gain the bonuses from it. So second sight, anything visible to this model is also visible to the caster that is soul linked to this model. So I really see this helping out Nagash a lot because it gives him visibility to basically everything, and then it can also help heal him throughout the battle. So the Bone-Tithe Shrieker, which is this guy here, cast on a 5 and placed wholly within 12 inches of the caster invisible to them, has a move of up to 8 inches. So its ability is Portent of Doom. Subtract 1 from leadership units, 1 from bravery from units while they're within 12 inches of this model. Bonereapers are not affected. No escape. Add 1 to hit rolls for attacks by Bonereaper units that target a unit that's within 12 inches of this model. So this is really good buffing, especially for your Mortek Guard and your other units in the army. All these spells are really good. The one that really stands out to me, or the two that stand out to me, are the Bone-Tithe Shrieker and the Soulstealer Carrion. I kind of like the Bone-Tithe Shrieker better because it buffs everything in the army, whereas the Soulstealer Carrion, I just see this being more of like a Nagashi type bonus for the group. So super cool, super easy. Now that we've done all that, let's look into this. So these are our Warscroll battalions. Obviously, you get the big one, which is the Ossiarch cohort. It consists of Catacross, Arch, Cavalos, Xantos, or 1 Liege Cavalos, 1 to 3 Mortek Shield Corps, 1 Mordson Trident, 1 to 2 Catacrossian Deathglaives, 1 Angius Immortal, 1 to 3 Cavalos Deathlance or Cavalos Lances, and 1 Mortek Bastili. So the Mortek Shield Corps, which is probably my favorite, and you're going to see it a lot. It's Vogmortian, 1 Mortison Bone Shaper, 1 Mortison Soul Reaper, or 1 Mortison Soul Mason, 3 units of Mortek Guard, and once per turn you can use the Shield Wall command ability without spending relentless discipline points to do so, which is great. You're going to use that ability all the time, so it really helps with your martial discipline points. So super cool. The Mordison Trident is basically 1 Bone Shaper, 1 Soul Reaper, 1 Soul Mason, and 1 Harvester. How many of those do you need? You just need 1 of those. Alright. So each Mordison from the battlefield can attempt to cast 1 extra spell in your hero phase if it is within 18 inches of the Gothizzar Harvester from the same battalion, and the Gothizzar Harvester is within 3 inches of enemy units. This one I don't see you using that often. You have to have the Gothizzar Harvester basically in combat for you to gain the bonus of this battalion. So yeah, kind of limited. All right, Catacrossian Deathglaive. It's basically 2 units of Necropolis Stalkers and 1 Morghast Harbinger. After enemies are set up before the first battle round begins, if all units from this battle group are wholly within 12 inches of this battalion's Morghast Harbinger unit, you can move any units from this battalion up to 6 inches. So not too bad. The Aegis Immortal, it's 1 Morghast Archive unit and 2 units of the Immortus Guard. The Morghast Archive unit from this battalion has the Soulbound Protector ability from the Immortus Guard Warscroll. In addition, when you use the Soulbound Protector ability from a unit with this battalion, and the dice roll is a 5+, the wound or mortal wound is negated instead of being allocated to a unit from this battalion. This is actually pretty good, and it come into play a lot with some bigger games, so I really like this one. All right, the Cavalos Lance, which is one I actually really want to do. It's Arch Cavalos Xantos, or 1 Liege Cavalos, 2 Cavalos Death Rider units. Units from this battalion can charge even if they retreated earlier in the same turn, if they are wholly within 12 inches of the Liege from the same battalion where the Wedge Commander. Alright, in addition, once per turn, you can use the Death Rider Wedge Command ability for a unit from this battalion without spending a Relentless Discipline point. So, super good. I kind of want to see this more played more often, and I think Derek actually is going to be playing it a little bit when he comes on the channel. He's painting up his Bone Reapers right now, just for so he can get some games in. So the Mortek Ballistari, it's 1 Bone Shaper, 1 Mortek Guard unit, and 2 Mortek Crawlers. This is like my favorite, just because of its contents. I love that it's basically 2 catapults, a unit of guard, and then like a babysitter hero along with it. So roll a dice before you allocate a wound or mortal wound to a Mortek Crawler from this battalion while it's within 3 inches of a Mortek Guard, alright, from the same battalion. Add 2 to the save roll for the Mortek Crawler if it is within 3 inches of the Mortison Bone Shaper from the same battalion. On a 4+, the wound or mortal wound is allocated to the Mortek Guard instead of the Mortek Crawler. It's not a bad ability to have, but you really want those crawlers to get damaged to kind of buff up your special shells later on. But overall, guys, these are all pretty decent Warscroll battalions. I really truly think the Shield Corps is really good, and the Cavalos Lance is really good. I like them. This one's probably my favorite game-wise, but this is my favorite overall just because of its content, which I think is really cool. So, super cool. Alright, guys. So, the only thing we have left to do are all of these. And then go over, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, the Crematorians. I love these guys. But six of those to go through, guys, and then we're all done with the Ossiarch Bonereapers. So thank you so much for stopping by, guys, for our RTR of the Ossiarch Bonereapers. Come back, guys, and we'll finish it up in our last section. Thank you so much, guys. Queen City Gaming, signing out. Hey, folks, welcome. Thank you so much for watching that video. This is Queen City Gaming. We are one of a local Charlotte group who does battle reports, unboxings, army reviews, things like that, all for you guys. So please make sure you like, share, and subscribe down below. Stay tuned for some more of our excellent videos with our upload schedule listed here on this section. Thank you so much, guys. This is Queen City Gaming, signing out.